Do over there. I'm gonna be doing my thing over here too, so don't worry about me. I can work around all that. So, well, good afternoon, everybody. Ken Johnson here with you, and we've had to make a little bit of a change to the forecast. I meant to do an update earlier today, but I got busy at home and wasn't able to do so. But we've increased the threat for thunderstorms across the area this afternoon, more of the area. Yesterday we were talking about this mostly being the far eastern parts of the area, and that's probably where the majority of the storms will be. But it looks like the dry line has been a little bit slower to progress eastward. If you ever watch me, you know that sometimes when you're into weather situations like this, small scale things can take place that aren't really able to be seen until the day of the event. So the dry line's a little bit slower, and that's given the opportunity for more storms to develop or more moisture to move into a larger part of Texoma this afternoon. So that's going to allow for at least a few more places to have a better chance at seeing something isolated this afternoon. And while this isn't a classic severe weather setup by any means, this is a situation where a couple of these storms will become supercells and produce some pretty big hail. And there's also some signatures that would indicate that these storms could produce some gusty winds. They're doing some stuff here in the studio, so you'll probably hear some stuff in the background, but I told them just to do what they got to do. And we'll do what we got to do over here. So let's get a eye on things. Let's kind of take a look at what's going on for right now. I'm going to kind of switch sources here for a minute, and I'm going to pull up some information so we can talk a little bit more about what is going on here this afternoon. So first thing I want to do is I want to show you where my severe weather threat, where I've drawn it at, where I've had to increase it to, and as you can see there, between let's say 4 and 8 p.m. I basically now, yesterday this was over there in basically just Montague County, Jack County. Now I've drawn it kind of a little bit further west, Wichita Falls down to Archer City, maybe even just northeast of Graham, and it covers a good part of Clay, Cotton, Jefferson, and into Stevens, Montague, and Jack County. And even on the outskirts of this, there could still be a stray thunderstorm. So again, the main concern here is some hail and gusty winds with some isolated, stronger thunderstorms. Now, if we look at the radar, you can see they're trying to pop up now. We're still seeing quite a bit of dry air that's kind of in place kind of over in here. So we're not seeing a lot of moisture, but it does increase over into this area, and we'll continue to see moisture increase over across the east. So we still think the greatest threat for severe weather would probably still be over into this area, but with storms initiating and the dry line a little bit further to the west, it is going to give a little bit of an opportunity for a couple of storms to pop up across areas like Archer City, Graham, Wichita Falls, up to about Lawton and points to the east. And again, we'll watch these radar trends and see if anything pops up quickly. If we take a look, here is the future tracker, and this is the latest update. And you can see this is showing those storms popping up now. Look at that. It even has a storm at the latest update. And I can tell you that with each run today, starting this morning, they've been a little bit more to the west with these thunderstorms. And this would be around 3:30. That's probably not going to be that accurate. Sometimes the models are a little bit off. I still think after 4 o'clock, but you can see those storms really, really blowing up there. Now, those would be supercell thunderstorms. Let's back it up here a little bit. And you can see by around 4, it's bringing some supercell storms through Wichita Falls and into the northern parts of Clay County and over into Stevens and Jefferson County, and we can continue to move. Look at those big supercells. And again, those are big hail-producing storms as they make their way through Clay County, maybe Comanche, maybe Stevens, Jefferson County. Then you can see additional storms blowing up this evening along the advancing what would be the dry line over into Montague County. And then they become a little bit more widespread. Moisture content will be a little bit higher over northeast Texas, so they're beginning to get a little more widespread over in southeast Oklahoma and northeast Texas. But it looks like we are going to see at least a chance for a few severe storms over us this evening. So if we look at the atmosphere, when we look for severe storms and we look for signs of tornadoes, you got to have a way to spin the atmosphere. We don't have a lot of what's called wind shear in the atmosphere today, so you don't have a whole lot of spin. The winds in the lowest levels of the atmosphere, they're going to get a little bit stronger as we get into the evening hours across some of our eastern counties. And that would suggest that some of these storms would have a little more to work with if they can get going over into Montague County. But as of right now, that spin's not incredibly strong, not a lot of wind shear. It's stronger just east of here. So I'm thinking that any tornado threat would mostly be just east of us. Plus, there's a lot of dry air in place. And in order to get that condensation from a tornado to reach down to the Earth's surface, you have to have moisture. If not, there's just no way to condense the air. So we're not really looking at much of a tornado situation, but this remains a hail situation. And if we take a look here, it looks like my screen may be locked up. Let me go over here. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Let me try to get out of this and try to go to something else here real fast, because that is certainly 100% locked up. So let me see what's happening, what's going on here. All right, I'm going to shut this program down and bring up, re-bring it up again. So just give me just a minute here. Not sure what happened with that. It usually doesn't do that. I'm trying to dial into my my weather graphic system here, and that's what we're trying to show here on the stream here this afternoon. Remember, if you have any questions, we'll be more than glad to answer them. Like I said, we got a lot going on in the studio this afternoon, so we will be busy doing that kind of stuff. So just give me a little bit here, and we'll try to pull up some of this data. And that's we're going to take this out here and go with another source here, and see if that'll work better. So far, I do not see any watches in effect for our immediate area, but that certainly could change. So we'll watch out for that for sure. So if we look, this is the graphic that shows where we might see the greatest hail potential, and you can see how the atmosphere is priming up for some hail. That indicates that there's a big imbalance in the atmosphere, a lot of cold air just above the Earth's surface. So as you get these thunderstorms to develop, their updrafts can get a bit stronger, and they have the potential to produce some bigger hail. So you can see how that kind of focuses just east of us there, over into Montague and over closer to I-35 and Dallas and those places eastward. So definitely a hail threat this evening, but maybe the greatest hail threat off to the east. And it's not only here are we seeing severe threats, but there's also threats for severe storms across the parts of the country, northwest Mississippi over into Arkansas and Tennessee. Over there, the wind shear and spin of the atmosphere is a little bit better, so I'm thinking the tornado threat would be greater over there and maybe across eastern parts of Texas and southeastern parts of Oklahoma. Again, what we're seeing here is mostly going to be in the form of hail and wind. On the flip side of that, the cold side of this, pretty big snowstorm today going on across Kansas into Nebraska, blizzard-like conditions up that way. Before we go, I'm going to check out the Storm Prediction Center and see if we have any new updates. Any new updates here. Go back to the radar, and again, not seeing thunderstorms yet, but we're probably going to see that happen before too much longer. We have the activity trying to develop down into Archer County, and that's going to lift northward, and we could see some thunderstorms here in Wichita Falls before too much longer. All right, I'm going to do an update over on the News Channel 6 Facebook page momentarily. So if you want more information, go over there on that. We'll do some more Facebook Live updates here on this side of things, so you can ask some questions a little bit later on. I'm having some some issues with the graphics I'm trying to use here in the background, so they're not working exactly the way I need them to. So I'm going to have to do some work on that. Yeah, anyway, so just to reiterate, a few thunderstorms are possible this afternoon between now and, let's say, 7, 8 o'clock. Main concern will be hail and wind gusts, but don't be surprised if we see some storms here in Wichita Falls here pretty soon, as they're trying to develop off to our south now. So it looks like the threat is at least going to be there, so we've had to increase the chances over us this afternoon and this evening. So low threat for severe weather, hail, gusty winds, the main concern. We'll have another update over on the News Channel 6 page.